Hello everyone, my name is Alexander Thorns, but you can call me Sasha, and welcome to the beginning of my type-themed Elimination Locke. This is going to be a series of Nuzlocke challenges from the first generation of Pokémon games, meaning Red, Blue and Yellow, with the intent of using every single fully evolved encounter, with Pokémon that won the league in the last run being banned from future ones. Meaning, if my Scyther on a bug-type Nuzlocke manages to survive and win the league, I can't use another Scyther in the flying-type Nuzlocke. To make things even more interesting, and to help me achieve the goal a little bit faster, I'm going to select a special starter for each run, which will usually be an impossible catch or a very late catch in the run. But this starter is going to be special, because if it falls in battle, I have to reset. My starter has to be crowned champion, no ifs, buts or whatevers. In addition to that, I'm using standard Nuzlocke rules minus the nickname one, and because this isn't a hardcore Nuzlocke, I'm going to be using my own leveling rules. For more details, check the video description. With all of that out of the way, let's get this challenge started. And for the first one, I chose the bug type in Pokémon Red, and my special starter is a pincer. Now, there's a reason for this decision. I chose Pokémon Red because every possible bug encounter is available except for one, Pincer. So if I use it as a starter, I can guarantee that I finish the bug type challenge because the only fully evolved mono bug type Pokémon on the first generation is, you guessed it, Pincer. There is some level of planning involved in this that I was not expecting, but let's move on to the Nuzlocke. So, to start the Nuzlocke, I name my character Kabuto, and after giving Professor Oak his parcel, I get my official starter for this run, which is a Pincer, which has a sprite that is definitely something else. God, I miss these sprites. After acquiring my starter, I get to add 2 more Pokémon to the roster. On Route 2, I catch a Weedle, and in the Viridian Forest I managed to get a Caterpie. With these 2 caterpillars in my party, Pincer can go through Viridian Forest with Vice Grip and land me at the beautiful Pura City, location of the first badge of this run, with Brock, the rock type specialist. A type that I should be very wary about, however, Brock's Pokémon don't know any rock type moves, and after preparing for the gym, my Weedle evolves to a Kakuna at level 7 and Beedrill at level 10. And Caterpie follows soon, evolving into Metapod and Butterfree at the same levels. And this beautiful butterfly is the answer I need for this gym. You see, at level 12, Butterfree learns Confusion, and with Onix and Geodude having terrible special stats and no rock type moves inside, Butterfree can crush Brock's team with a Confusion spam, even getting a Confusion stat in Onix. First badge easily acquired. With the Pura City Gym Challenge completed, I am free to make my way into Mount Moon, where the next encounter awaits the pre-evolution of my favorite bug type in Generation 1, a Paras, which I know it's not the greatest Pokémon in the roster, but I still love him. Mount Moon is a breeze, with Pincer showing his dominance over everyone until I arrive at Cerulean City, the place where the next gym battle will take place. But before I can head into that, I had some side quests to attend, starting with our first rival battle, which reminds me I forgot to fight him back at Route 24. Oh well, the battle starts and it sends out his Pidgeotto to go against my Beedrill, and I start Poison Stinging, hoping to fish out the poison, however, unsuccessfully. And taking some damage from Gust already, I decide to send out my starter Pincer and start Vice Gripping this away. I get rid of Pidgeotto and Abra, forcing Rattata in, where Pincer barely misses out on the KO, allowing for the tiny red to go for Hyper Fang and a priority quick attack on the next turn. Now my starter is below 50% HP before it goes down, and this is unfortunate because my rival's last Pokémon is his own starter Charmander, a fire type, that can threaten Pincer with a fire type move. However, I don't want to risk a crit on the switch, so I just have to click Vice Grip, which deals around 2/3 into the fire lizard, but he luckily goes for a growl, meaning I can fire another Vice Grip, squeezing Charmander for the win. With that match behind me, I can go into Pill's house to get him out of his furry suit and acquire the SS tickets. With all the side quests completed and looted, I can challenge the gym leader Misty, the water type specialist. And I have a plan for this. As Misty sends out his stereo, I go for Betrayal, immediately clicking Tweedle, the only decent bug type move in Generation 1 that only Beedrill knows. This move makes Beedrill one of the best Nuzlocke encounters in Red, Blue and Yellow, in my humble opinion of course. And after 2 Twin Needles, Staryu goes down, only hitting a weak water gun in response. In comes Starmie, and with it being part Psychic type, Twin Needle is super effective, dealing a lot of damage and getting poisoned, and after taking a big chunk from water gun, this forces me to go for a switch into Paras that resists water gun. However, Starmie switches it up for tackle. This is not a problem because Paras knows Leech Life, a very weak bug type move, but it heals Paras for part of the damage, meaning there is nothing Starmie can do against my Fungi zombie because the damage from the poison combined with Leech Life net a hassle-free win against the second gym. After that easy gym battle, I set my sights onto Vermilion City, the location of the electric type gym commanded by Lieutenant Surge. But before I can go on that electrifying journey, I need to take care of the SSN. In this boat, I can collect the TM for Body Slam that I teach to my starter to get him some power because, let's be honest, with this level up moveset, Pinsir needs all the help I can give him. In this particular boat, I have to face my rival once again. His team is starting to take shape, so let's get into battle. Battle kicks off with his Pidgeot against my Beedrill again, and I stick to the same plan as before and go for Twin Needle, landing a poison on the first turn and bringing the bird down with another one. Only get hit once I attack. Next comes in his Raticate and 2 Twin Needles take the big rat down. Luckily, no misses, and Beedrill tanks 2 quick attacks, being left at 15% HP as Rabbit takes the field. Since I don't want to risk taking a psychic move by being outsped, I switch for my Pinsir on the disable, allowing me to one-shot it with a Body Slam next turn because of his terrible defenses. Next comes his starter Vermilion, and it's a starter face-off once again. But 2 Body Slams do the trick, taking a weak Ember in return. This means I can get the HM for cut and be done with this floating vessel. The only thing left to do in this Harbor City is face Lieutenant Surge for the gym badge. But first, I have to complete the most annoying puzzle of any Pokemon game, and this took way longer than I was expecting it to take, but alas, the gates are open, and with my Paras now involved into a Parasect, I can face Lieutenant Surge. There isn't much planning to do in this phase, because Parasects resist electric moves, and with a Tot TM for Dig, it can deal super effective damage to all of Surge's Pokemon, give me an easy win and a third badge. Now I can make my way onto Rock Tunnel, and yes, I am proudly one of those Gen 1ers that memorized this cave, so I don't need Flash to go through it. After reaching the end of Rock Tunnel, I arrive at Lavender Town, but I have no business here for now, so I keep making my way onto Celadon City, the place of my next encounter, and this one comes with a price. Literally, you see, after acquiring the coin case, I can give all my life savings to this lovely gentleman and get my hands on a beautiful Scyther. Then this beats trying to catch one in a Safari Zone by miles, and is the reason why I chose Pokemon Red for this playthrough. With a new team member, I can complete the Game Corner side quest against Team Rocket, and while I won't narrate Giovanni's fight, let's just say it wasn't as easy as I was expecting. But that is simply because I didn't bother to prepare for this fight, a big mistake for my part. But I still go unpunished and can get the Silph Scope. Now, I could just go into the Pokemon Tower right away, but since my levels are getting close to the next gym leader, and I don't want to be too over level, I decide to just go for it and enter Erica, the grass type specialist's gym. This isn't a hard gym battle, because Beedrill can simply run through Erica's team easily. However, I decide to be cheeky and lead with Butterfree against her starter Victreebel. This was a bad idea, even though my beautiful Butterfly can defeat a carnivorous plant, I take a lot of damage for no reason really. So I decide to drop the on her act and just switch Beedrill in on Tangela and sweep it and Vileplume with a couple of Twin Needles. Fuck you, Erica. With Giovanni put in his place and Erica defeated, I can make my way to the Pokemon Tower, where my rival is expecting me for another battle that I completely forgot existed, meaning there wasn't much of a challenge on that part, and at the top of the Pokemon Tower I can rescue Mr. Fuji and get my hands on the Pokeflute. This allows me to wake up the Snorlax in route 12, which after Pinsir deals with a fat bear, the way gets open for me to acquire my 6th and final team member, a Venonat, with this little... what even is a Venonat? Wait, let me check Wikipedia. Quote, Venonat seems to draw inspiration for multiple insects, which may include fleas, mites, flies, owlflies, flightless moths, and or venomous caterpillars. Its large compound eyes function like the radar and resemble parabolic antennas. End quote. Okay, so with this little flightless moth, I have all the possible encounters and I hope to bring them all into the Pokemon League. But before I can attempt that dream, I need to go to the Safari Zone to get the Golden Teeth and the Surf HM, and I can give the teeth back to this gentleman to get the HM for strength. After dealing with the rest of the trainers and my Venonat evolving into a Venomoth, I am ready to take on Koga, the 5th gym leader. Koga is a poison type gym leader, and fun fact, in Generation 1, Bug is super effective against poison and takes super effective damage from it as well. The problem is, only one of my entire Bug team knows a Bug type move. 2 of my team members know psychic moves, and on that logic, I decided to lead with Venomoth against his lead Coughing. Before I show you how that battle went, I have some confessions to make. Firstly, Koga is very annoying to deal with, because every single one of his Pokemon has some type of accuracy shenanigans going besides his ace that no self-destructs. And the time I was recording this gameplay, I was extremely tired. I just had a terrible 10-hour shift, so my attentions and decision-making skills were not on point for this battle, and that in my mind was going to be an easy sweep, so keep that in mind as you continue watching. So, on the first turn, I decide to click Psybeam for a good chunk of damage, leaving Coughing in the red, but taking a smokescreen in return, lowering my purple moth's accuracy, which comes into play the next turn when I miss the next Psybeam, but Coughing missed another smokescreen, so the turn cancels out, allowing me to go for another Psybeam, this time connecting and taking the pollution balloon down. Muk is next, and this is where the shit show of fighting Koga begins. Venomoth missed the first Psybeam and Muk immediately goes for a minimize. So the field stands with my Venomoth at -1 accuracy and his Muk at +1 evasion. Now, because I am a very stubborn person and I was so tired, making me even more stubborn, I failed the next 3 Psybeams and took a big sludge for about 45% health. Finally, I managed to connect with a Psybeam for the same damage and Muk goes for a disable, targeting my Venomoth's Leech Life. After missing another Psybeam and taking another big sludge that leaves my Moth in the red, I have to switch. And this is where my biggest mistake happened, because I wanted to swap in Butterfree and go for another Psybeam, but I fat fingered it and brought in Parasect. This is bad. If you remember what I said earlier, Parasect is 4 times weak to poison, being grass and bug type, and the thing is, now I know Muk will click Sludge, and I don't want to switch anyone into a poison move, so believing, at least hoping, that Parasect would outspeed, I go for a Dig, but it doesn't outspeed, and takes a massive Sludge, bringing my zombie Bug down for the count. Yeah, this sucks. Not only did I lose my favorite bug type from Generation 1, I also lost my 100% accurate sleep causing Spore, which is a big blow. After that loss, I swapped Beedrill in, only to miss 3 Twin Needles in a row, giving Muk another minimized boost, a next attack boost, and getting my Twin Needle disabled, forcing Beedrill to shoot for a pin missile, missing the first one and connecting the second one, but only hitting 3 times, leaving Muk with a slither of HP, bringing it down with another one that thankfully connects. Fuck Muk. Koga's second Coughing is next, and without the accuracy shenanigans, my Giant Bee can finish it off clean with a 4-hit pin missile. My opponent's ace is up next, and Weezing carries around a big timer on the form of self-destruct. Now, if my mind wasn't so hazy at the time, I could have made the best decision and switched Pinsir in because if Weezing decided to go boom, Pinsir is the only one with a chance at survival, with this massive defense stat, and win. Or even if Weezing didn't explode on me, Pinsir could possibly threaten it with a Body Slam plus a Paralyze, giving me an opening to defeat it in the next turn, although a potential Sludge plus Self-Destruct could bring my starter down, but that's besides the point. The thing is, I didn't switch For some reason, I decided to try my luck on a crit pin missile, but I didn't even do that because I misclicked and went for a twin needle that wouldn't even kill on a crit, looking at that damage. And Weezing goes for a self-destruct, finishing this battle with the remains of my now fainted Beachwild splattered all over the battlefield. A win, yes, but at a very high cost of 2 team members. After that bloodbath of a gym battle, I decided to press on with these 4 team members remaining. And the first thing on my list is dealing with Team Rocket at Silphco. This also means another battle against my rival, and this team is looking very scary and my team isn't on its best moments. But I faced the challenge head on. Pidgeot takes the field, and for my side Venomoth joins. I click Stun Spore hoping to slow the bird down, but it misses and I take a weak wing attack in return. On the following turn I manage to connect with a Stun Spore and take another wing attack, leaving my purple moth with 30% HP remaining. However, this was part of the plan, as now I can switch in Pinsir and start body slamming away. And because crits are based on speed on the Generation 1 games, I can guarantee a crit which doesn't kill but gets really close to it, giving me the KO next turn on a Para Hex. Execute is next and 2 body slams crack the Hex, with a full para to help. Gyarados takes the field and my amazing starter keeps the streak going with another crit body slam plus a secondary paralyze and takes meaningless damage from a bite, crushing the Sea Serpent the next turn. Alakazam is next, and with that defense stat, even a non-crit could do the trick, leaving only Charizard, my rival starter, and a problematic Pokemon to deal with, to say the least. But Pinsir doesn't care. This is a Pokemon with commitment because Pinsir gets another crit and a para on this Fire Blizzard that went for Ember, leaving my Beetle at red health, but the paralyze means I guarantee outspeed and can defeat my rival with another body slam. Pinsir is a god. Giovanni is up next, and I could describe the fight for you guys, but it wasn't very hard, since none of his Pokemon is especially threatening, so Venomoth and Butterfree take care of Nidoran, Rhyhorn, Nidoqueen, and Scyther makes a quick work of Kangaskhan. Now, the final thing left to do in Saffron City is defeat the 6th gym leader, Sabrina, the Psychic type expert. And although for most runs, this can be a tough fight, with an Ace Alakazam being one of the best Pokemon on the entire game, but Alakazam and Alp Psychic types are very lacking in the defense departments, and that's where my Scyther comes in. Honor Lead Kadabra. Scyther can set up one Swords Dance and proceed to one-hit KO every Pokemon with a +2 high crit ratio, except for Venomoth that survived on a Slither but only connected a Poison Powder. With that, 6 gyms are in the bag. The next destination is Cinnabar Island, the home of the 7th gym, and here some of my weird laziness clicked in. You know those moments where doing things the faster way seems like a hassle, so you just decide on the slower way for some reason? This was one of those moments for me, because I never picked up Fly, and because I already deposited my Cut user, it seemed easier for me to make it all the way on foot from Saffron City to Pilot Town than getting Fly. So I did the whole course, got to Pilot Town, used Surf to get to Cinnabar Island, and immediately went into Pokémon Mansion in order to pick up the secret key. To leave the Pokémon Mansion, I used an escape rope. Did you know, in the earlier games of Pokémon, you had to visit the Pokémon Center in order to get the Fly location? I didn't visit the Pokémon Center in Cinnabar Island, because I went straight to the side quest. This means, when I used the escape rope, I went back to the last city I used the Pokémon Center, that being Cerulean City. Yeah. Moral of the story, just get the goddamn HM. After that massive time loss, I finally get to challenge Blaine, the 7th gym leader and a fire type specialist. Blaine leads Growlithe, and I lead Scyther and go for a Swords Dance in hopes of pulling a Sabrina sweep, getting tagged with a weak Ember for it. Afterwards I click Slash, get a crit and a one-hit KO, which is a shared fate with the next Pokemon, a Ponyta. Rapidash comes next, and Crit Slash is just shy of the KO, giving the Fire Horse the opportunity to go for a Crit Fire Spin, for a good chunk of damage. And after a Super Potion from Blaine, the first tick of damage from the Fire Spin, I decide to switch for Pinsir on another Super Potion. On Blaine's end, restoring Rapidash to full health, but my starter isn't phased, as it connects with a powerful Body Slam and a Paralyze, taking a weak non-crit Fire Spin. This means I need to switch again. this time for Venomoth on a full para for Rapidash. This allows me to go for a Psybeam, which misses short of the KO, but Rapidash misses the Fire Spin, meaning I can easily outspeed and take it out with another Psybeam. Last is Blaine's Ace and Arcanine, and I risk it all to go Sleep Spore, which thankfully connects, putting the puppy to sleep, allowing me to switch my Pinsir back in. On the turn Arcanine wakes up. I go for a Body Slam and Blaine goes for a Super Potion. Weird. I go for Body Slam again, getting a crit, and Blaine goes for another Super Potion. Weirder. Then another crit Body Slam gets the KO, giving me the gym. I have no idea what I was thinking on that situation, but Blaine used 4 Super Potions in its battle. But hey, I got a win on what could have been a very tough battle. And finally, I arrive after the final gym challenge. No more side quests, I can go just straight into a gym to face Giovanni, the leader of Team Rocket and ground type specialist, for one last time. He leads with his iron and I lead Venomoth, bringing the Rocky Rhino down with 2 psychics, only taking a defense drop from Tail Whip in the process. Dugtrio is next and I know Dig can really mess up my Moth, so I decide to switch for Scyther. On a guard spec of all things. This means I can go for a Swords Dance on the next Sand attack and connect a crit slash soon after for the KO. Nidoqueen takes on the battle, and given that I got nothing to lose, I decide to stay in and go for a slash. For around 60%, and Giovanni goes for another guard spec. What is going on here? On the next turn, Scyther misses a slash and takes a poison sting of all things, giving me the KO next turn with another slash. Then from one Nido to another, Nidoking is here to do the same thing as his wife, because he goes down to 2 slashes, only retaliating with a very weak poison sting. His last member is a Rhydon, which I decide to go for slash to see how much damage it made. Not so much as expected, but then I swipe to Venomoth and bring the standing Rhino down with 2 psychics, because he was so focused on using Horn Drill, while very scary, also very hard to hit. So with this I collected all 8 gym badges and I am ready to face the Pokemon League. But first, my rival wants to have one final showdown before the last stretch. On his lead Pidgeot, Pinsir takes the field, this time going for a Body Slam for around 60% and taking a very weak wing attack in return, allowing me to KO it the next turn with another Body Slam. Rhyhorn is next and I swipe for Venomoth, evading an Ordrill on the switch, meaning I'm free to click Psychic twice and defeat it, taking a very weak stomp in the process. Execute is next, and since it is 4 times weak to Bug type, I decide to go for a Leech Life, which barely misses a kill but restores my Moths to full health, allowing me to KO it the next turn with another Leech Life. Next up is Gyarados, and after collecting with a Sleep Spore, I pivot out for Scyther. That can go for a Swords Dance and smack him with a Slash next turn for around 65%, taking a powerful Hydro Pop in the process, giving me the KO next turn with another Slash. Alakazam is next, and the crit slash sends him back to Anubis. Then Charizard joins in, and this time this is scary because Scyther is below half health and I don't want to risk Charizard surviving a slash and retaliating with a flamethrower that would definitely kill my Scyther. This means I need to make a sacrifice, and unfortunately, for me to have an actual chance to win this Nuzlocke, the only member I can spare to lose is Butterfree, that amazingly survives a flamethrower, but this fate is already sealed, because in the next turn my Butterfly gets outsped and scorched with another flamethrower. I'm very sorry buddy, but Scyther is too good to lose and very necessary for the Elite Four. Rest in pieces. After this loss, I'm still not out of the woods, because I still need to defeat this giant lizard, and the only Pokemon that can hopefully outspeed it is my very own starter, Pinsir, which forces me to reset if I lose it, so I have to bet everything on the next few turns. I click Body Slam, no crit, but I get a Paralyzed secondary effect and a full para, so I take this opportunity to click Slash, hoping for a crit that Pinsir of course gets it, taking this monster down. I'm slowly falling in love with Pinsir, not gonna lie. With another team funeral completed, I have to hope these 3 bugs have what it takes, because after the long stretch that is Victory Road, I arrive at the Indigo Plateau, where the final challenge is located, the Elite Four. After some team preparations, I head into the first battle against Lorelei. On her Diogong, I send in Pinsir, and immediately go for a Swords Dance on a failed rest. This means a combination of Body Slam and Slash brings the white Dugong down, bringing in Cloyster and his monstrous defense start. And because of this, the next turns was Pinsir spamming 3 slashes, in between getting wilted down by a series of clamps up to 30% HP remaining. So annoying. After that clusterfuck, Slowbro comes in and I switch for Scyther on a very weak water gun, and after a dance between Growlers and Withdraws from Slowbro and double teams and swords dances from Scyther, I finally decide to go on the offensive and click Slash for good 40% damage, meaning another Slash plus quick attack bring the weird hippo down, leaving only Lapras left. Then, because Pinsir is low health and Scyther is already at +2 attack and +1 evasion, I decide to stay in and go for a Slash for almost 40% and evading a blizzard, and that move can destroy my Nuzlocke. Next turn, Slash does not get the KO, meaning Lapras connects with a second blizzard, but the Mad Mantis that is my Scyther survives with 2 HP, destroying the Water Buzz Pokemon the next turn with a clutch survival and another Slash. That was close. What wasn't even close is the next Elite Four member, Bruno, with a team of fighting types and Onix, so Venomoth can easily dispatch every single one of Bruno's Pokemon with a Psychic, taking no damage in return. All hail the God Moth that is Venomoth. Agatha seems to be on the same track as Bruno based on their team, and while Venomoth clean sweeps her entire team with Psychic, Hunter and his shenanigans almost put an end to it. However, me and my stubbornness remain unpunished. Lance is the next and final member of the Elite Four in our path, and this battle surely won't be so one-sided, right? Battle begins, and we have his Gyarados against my Pinsir. I go for a Swords Dance, taking 40 HP from a Dragon Rage. This means I can slash the next turn for a crit, dealing around 60% damage, and after another Dragon Rage, the Sea Serpent goes down. Lance's first Dragonair is next, and after Slash leaves it with a Slither, it misses a Slam, giving me the KO on the next turn. This is a fate shared with the second Dragonair that gets one-shotted by a crit Slash. Aerodactyl is next, and I have to risk it. Even though Pinsir can only do resisted damage, I don't want to play around for a crit Hyper Beam on a switch, so I decide to stay in and go for a Sledge, which does around 40% damage, more than I was expecting to be honest, but the Aerodactyl goes for a Supersonic and misses. This repeats again for the next 2 turns, giving me a weirdly easy KO. Dragonite is the last of Lance's Pokemon, and the same strategy applies. I'm +2 and half health, but I have to risk it. This time going for a Body Slam that gets the Para, guaranteeing the outspeed on the next turn, and Dragonite goes for a Barrier, which means jack shit, because at low health, a crit slash is all that Pinsir needs to give us the win. Only one battle left before I can complete this first part of my Elimination Locke series. This final battle is against our longtime rival, John. He leads with Pidgeot and I go for Pinsir, going in with the same strategy of clicking Swords Dance first turn, but John surprises me with a Mirror move, giving his Pidgeot a +2 boost. This could be very scary if he didn't decide to go for the 2-turn Sky Attack next, because this means Pinsir is free to KO it with 2 slashes and a full health bar. This brings in Alakazam out, but at +2, Pinsir can crack Alakazam like an eggshell with a slash. Raiden is next, and I decide to switch for Venomoth and 2 Psychics, take it down, dodging a Horn Drill in the process. Executor enters the battlefield, and I go for a Leech Life, a strategy that seemed fine until Hypnosis connects, leading into 5 sleep turns that resulted into my Venomoth being put at 14 HP until he wakes up and connects with the Leech Sheet, regenerating some health back, and after a now missed Hypnosis, collects the coconuts from the tree. Gyarados is next, and if I want to have any chance at winning this, I have to risk Venomoth. So I stay in and click the only button that can save Venomoth's life, Sleep Spore, which thankfully connects. My moth lives another day. This gives me a chance to whittle down Gyarados with a Psychic and switch for Scythe, while Gyarados is still asleep. This allows for a double team on the turn Gyarados wakes up and a Swords Dance on a non-crit Hyper Beam for 40% damage. This means Scyther can cut Gyarados into sashimi with 2 slashes, bringing in John's final Pokemon, his starter Charizard. And I'm on the best possible situation. My Scyther is +2 attack and +1 evasion, so I stay in and click slash for above 50% damage, and Charizard unfortunately connects with a Fire Spin. This is bad, but not impossible. If Fire Spin only lasts 3 turns, Scyther can survive it and in the final blow. And it ends after 2 ticks, meaning Scyther survives at 15% HP and deals the final blow with a crit slash. With this, I completed my first entry on the Elimination Locke saga by completing Pokemon Red using only Bug-type Pokemons, with Pinsir Brink on Champion, meaning that the Bug-type is officially completed. And joining Pinsir we have Venomoth that is removed from the Poison roster, and Scyther that is removed from the Flying-type rosters. And I have a confession to make, related to the other one, by the way. I know that I didn't play optimally in this run, and the fact that I won is a lot related to the fact that Gen 1 Nuzlocke can be very easy at times. And the reason why I didn't play optimally was because when I lost Beedrill and Venomoth, my fucking stubbornness kicked into full drive, and I vowed to finish the Nuzlocke on that day, with the only team remaining. Now I was exhausted from a long week where life hasn't been too kind to me, but I was having so much fun doing it. It was one of those moments where nothing mattered around me, nothing existed, just that moment I was playing Pokemon. In a sense brought me back to my childhood days when I had the excitement to play. And that is one of the reasons why I love this game so much. It's a game that I've been playing for the past 22 years, and I still get moments like this where playing is almost like a therapy for me. So even though I was exhausted by the end, I was also very happy that I got to have a moment for myself when I needed to disconnect from everything else, and above all else, a moment that was genuine fun. And after all that vent, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Always remember to cherish the little moments you get in life and never stop being yourselves. Peace.